In a world of unanswered questions and unsolved riddles, one clue can change everything. You're listening to The Last Clue, where mysteries don't just get solved, they get experienced. I'm Jessa, guiding you through the shadows of each case. What you hear might disturb you, what you miss might deceive you, and what you discover might surprise you. Ready your notebooks and sharpen your instincts. The most observant among you will earn immortality on our wall of fame. The mystery begins now. The Vanishing Guest, Episode 6, The Final Truth. We've followed the trail, examined the evidence, listened to the whispers of the past, and now, detectives, it's time to uncover the final truth of Lena Carter's disappearance. Was it paranormal? A time loop? A deception carefully crafted? The moment has come to reveal what really happened at the Willow Crest Inn. The weeks following the incident in Room 6 brought more questions than answers. Sheriff Tom Davies struggled to document what he had witnessed. A mirror that showed another time. A woman trapped within it. The inexplicable shattering of glass. His official report remained vague, citing unexplained phenomena and investigation ongoing. But privately, he knew the case of Lena Carter would never be solved through conventional means. The sheriff commissioned a thorough historical investigation of Willow Crest Inn. Records dating back to its construction in 1897 revealed a pattern far more extensive than they had first realized. The disappearances weren't limited to the handful they had discovered. Every few years, someone vanished. Often a researcher, a historian, someone drawn to the inn by its reputation for mystery. Margaret Hale finally revealed the full truth about her family's connection to the inn. The Hales hadn't merely been innkeepers. They had been guardians, keeping watch over the mirror, ensuring it remained within the property, preventing it from claiming more victims than necessary. A duty passed from mother to daughter for generations. We couldn't destroy it, Margaret explained. Those who tried would be the next to disappear. We could only contain it, keep it in room 6, hope that no one would look too closely. But Olivia Parker had looked closely, and what she discovered would finally explain what had happened to Lena Carter. Before we unravel the truth, let's take a look at some of your theories. Some of you believed Lena was trapped between two realities, pulled into the past through the mirror. Others think she was never real at all, just a ghost reliving a tragedy from long ago. And then there are those of you who suspect foul play, that someone, perhaps Margaret Hale or even Sheriff Davies, was responsible for her disappearance. The final piece of the puzzle came from Eleanor Gray's diary. Not the entries themselves, but what lay hidden between the lines. Using specialized techniques, forensic analysts discovered faded ink on pages that had seemed blank. Eleanor's final message, invisible to the naked eye, but preserved by the paper itself. The mirror shows me another time, a future where I am someone else, where I am Lena. The reflection isn't a reflection at all. It's a window. And sometimes, when the hour is right, it becomes a door. Olivia Parker pieced together the truth from this revelation, from historical records, from the photograph with its impossible subject. Eleanor Gray hadn't just disappeared in 1947. She had been pulled forward in time, emerging nearly 80 years later as Lena Carter. The mirror wasn't just a doorway between times. It was a trap, a cycle. Those who looked into it at the wrong moment would be pulled through only to return to their original time later, creating an endless loop of disappearance and reappearance. Lena Carter didn't vanish, not in the way we imagined. The answer was hidden in plain sight all along. Remember the security footage? The door to Lena's room never opened. At least, not in the way we expected. But what if she never left through the door? What if she was pulled somewhere else? Eleanor Gray's diary held the answer. Don't look in the mirror after midnight. It wasn't a superstition. It was a warning. A warning that Lena ignored. At 1:37 a.m., she looked into the mirror, and something looked back. Something old, something hungry, something that had been waiting. But Eleanor had discovered something else, something that explained the mysterious connection between her and Lena Carter. They were the same person, different times, different names, but the same soul caught in an endless loop. When Eleanor was pulled through the mirror in 1947, she emerged in 2024 as Lena Carter, with fragmented memories and a desperate need to understand what had happened to her. And when Lena vanished from room 6, she reappeared in 1947 as Eleanor Gray, continuing the cycle. The mirror wasn't just a reflection, it was a doorway, one that had been opening and closing for decades. The missing guest? They never left. They were swallowed by the past or pulled into the future, by something lurking between time. And when Olivia touched the mirror, it initiated the shatter that was completed by Lena from the other side. And due to the bend in time, it was a simultaneous break from both sides. When the mirror broke, the cycle ended, and Eleanor's and Lena's souls merged back together in the original time of 1947. And the thank you written on the photograph, that was her farewell. What is known is this: after the mirror shattered, the disappearances at Willow Crest Inn stopped. Room 6 was renovated, the wall where the mirror hung torn down completely and rebuilt. Margaret Hale sold the property 6 months later, unable to continue living with the memories of what had happened there. As for Olivia Parker, she published her article about Willow Crest Inn, a carefully sanitized version that mentioned the historic architecture, the charming countryside setting, the locally sourced breakfast offerings, not a word about vanishing guests or mirrors that led to other times. But she continued her research privately. 6 months after leaving the inn, she discovered a newspaper clipping from 1947, an engagement announcement for Eleanor Gray, who had mysteriously returned after being reported missing for 3 days. Eleanor went on to marry, to have children, to live a long and apparently happy life. The photograph accompanying the announcement showed Eleanor smiling, her arm linked with her fiance's, and on her wrist, a bracelet. The same distinctive silver bracelet that Lena Carter had been wearing when she checked into the Willow Crest Inn in 2024. So, detectives, now you know. Eleanor Gray was pulled into the future, and Lena Carter stepped into the past. And for decades, she was stuck in a story repeating itself over and over again until Olivia set her free.
Goodbye.
There is one final piece of the puzzle, one that explains why the mirror had such power and why it created this cycle of displacement across time. Edmund Willow, the eccentric inventor who built Willow Crest Inn in 1897, wasn't simply constructing a countryside retreat. He was building a machine, a device to observe and perhaps someday cross the boundaries of time itself. His journals, recovered from a university archive years after his disappearance, detailed his obsession with temporal anomalies and his belief that certain locations represented thin spots in the fabric of reality. The mirror was his masterpiece, a window designed to look not just at reflections, but at other times. The silver backing contained unusual materials, substances that Edmund believed could bend light in ways that defied conventional physics. But something went wrong. The window became a door, and Edmund himself was his first victim. On June 17, 1903, Edmund Willow stood before his creation at precisely 1:37 a.m., a time he had calculated as the moment when the thinning was most pronounced, and he vanished. But unlike the others who would follow, Edmund never returned, at least not in a way anyone recognized. Sheriff Davies' historical investigation uncovered one last connection: a caretaker who appeared at Willow Crest in 1943, staying for nearly 40 years, maintaining the property with obsessive care, especially room 6. His name was William Edmund. No known family, no background that could be verified. Just a man who appeared from nowhere, dedicated to preserving a building that seemed to hold special significance for him. The cycle began with Edmund Willow, and perhaps, in a way, it ended with him too. His creation finally broken, his experiment concluded, the barrier between times restored to its proper strength. And with that, we close the case of the vanishing guest. But be careful, because some doors, some mirrors, are best left untouched. Until the next mystery, stay curious, stay cautious, and always search for the last clue. And with that final revelation, we close the case on our first season of The Last Clue. I want to extend my deepest thanks to all of you who have listened, theorized, and journeyed with us through these mysteries. Special recognition for those who have made the Wall of Fame will be posted in a special announcement in a few days, after I review all of the entries. I have to say, your detective skills are remarkable. But just because one mystery ends, doesn't mean the darkness retreats for long. Season 2 of The Last Clue is already taking shape in the shadows. New cases, deeper secrets, higher stakes, and mysteries that will challenge even our most astute listeners. Stay subscribed so you don't miss our return. Follow us on social media, our Facebook page, The Last Clue, a mystery podcast, on Spotify or wherever you get your podcast at The Last Clue, a mystery podcast, on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at The Last Clue podcast for updates on the premiere date and perhaps some early clues about what awaits. Until we meet again, keep looking beyond the obvious, because in this world, everything is a clue. This is Jessa, signing off for now.